Okay, we'll try our best. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Good, excellent. We are a little late, but just in time for the live transmission of this general briefing. I welcome people outside of this room first, over there, and now I welcome you, pilots from all over the world, officials, my team, respected members of the press, and I'm happy to proceed with the general briefing. I'm standing in the middle, sorry for that. You will receive the general briefing as always in electronic format after the briefing. You'll get a PDF via email. So we structured the briefing. I want to be fast and short as always, so this should be done ideally in less than 1 hour. Let me first welcome our friends from the local organizing team standing on the left-hand side, and I forgot to mention the last name of Christoph, but maybe you use the opportunity and say something as local organizers to the teams at this moment. There will be more later, but now it's a more informal, more relaxed way. The floor is yours, but no longer than 3 hours. Please.
Bonjour à toutes et à tous. Voilà, je m'appelle Nicolas Maurice et ça fait 2 ans avec toute mon équipe qu'on travaille sur l'organisation de la Gordon Bennett à Montbéliard.
Hello everyone, we are very pleased to welcome you here in Montbéliard. We are working on this project since 2 years now with the team.
Et aujourd'hui, on est heureux, et particulièrement très heureux de vous accueillir dans le pays de Montbéliard en France, grâce à la victoire de nos Français il y a 2 ans, Vincent et Christophe.
Very happy to welcome you here in Montbéliard, thanks to the win of the 2 French pilots 2 years ago.
Et je vous souhaite à tous et à toutes un bon vol, une belle Gordon. Soyez prudents et profitez de toute l'organisation qu'on a mis pour vous. Et n'hésitez pas à venir vers nous si vous rencontrez un problème ou quoi que ce soit.
We wish you all the best for this competition, and please feel free to come to us for any question or anything you should need. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You will hear more French tonight, but with the translation it works out. Okay, we'll start with the roll call, and I want pilots to identify yourself and turn your face around so that we all know who is behind the name when I run the list. This is a little small for you to read, and so I take my document when I'm reading your names. Australia, Darius and Christopher Saunders. The first team from Austria, Gerald Stürzlinger and Wolfgang Späth. Team Australia number 2, Vusi Wagner and Nick Binder. Belgium, Geert Paisman and Philippe de Kock. And the guys why we are here today, Vincent Leys and Christophe Auvert. The second French team, Eric Desilliers and Benoît Avray. L'équipage France 3, Luc Monin and Alexis Bija. Our friends from the UK, John Rose and Anne Rich. Deutschland 1, Andreas Zumrode und Alex Hunnekohl. Team Deutschland 2, Matthias Zenge und Benjamin Eimers. And Germany 3, Willi Eimers and Sebastian Eimers. I think this is the first time ever in the history of the Gordon Bennett that the father and both sons are participating as pilots in the Gordon Bennett. From Luxembourg, Carlo Arendt and Claude Saubert. From Poland, the pilots who make sure that we have a nice takeoff next year in Poland, Mateusz Rekas and Jacek Bogdanski. The second team from Poland, Krzysztof Zapat and Adam Ginalski. From Spain, our friends Angel Aguirre and Anulfo González Redondo. From Switzerland, team number 1, Laurent Cibot and Nicolas Thiesch. Switzerland number 2, Kurt Frieden and Pascal Wittprächtiger. The third team from Switzerland, Walter Gschwendtner and Max Krebs. From the US, the team, I believe, no, it's Australia is furthest, but second furthest, Jerry White and Max Sullivan. And Candy Caton and John Hager, team number 2, US. Also in the room, but not part of the official race, is our German friend Rainer Hassold, who flies a gas balloon as well during the race. Welcome. I will talk a little bit about his role later. I'm not sure if he knows he has a role. Okay, let's proceed with the briefing, and I welcome my friends, longtime friends from the jury President Jean-Claude Weber from Luxembourg. John Grubström from Sweden. And I should have put Martine as woman first, but she's from France, so I put her last. Sorry for that. Welcome. Then, you know, the team, we keep it small usually when I try to run events or when I run events. So it's me as event director, Benoit Pella. Where is Benoit as my deputy? For safety, it's Benoit Peterle on the left hand. And both have been participating as pilots, as you know, several times in previous Gordon Bennett races. Air traffic is very important, so I listed 3 names. Nick Gerber, he's the international coordinator. Pascal, being French and I believe 4-time Gordon Bennett participant. He is also in the team, and Caroline will join us tomorrow. And finally, a very warm welcome to Marc-André at the back of the room and his team. As you know, Marc was my deputy last year in Bern, and now he takes care of all the social media activities, Gordon Bennett TV. And on that occasion, I would also like to welcome our commentator, Regan Tetlow, in the back of the room. He will definitely reach out to you for some engaging and interactive interview sessions, I would call. Yes. Okay, let's start with the rules. They are really unchanged compared to previous years, but I'm sure there are a couple of questions which I like to give you more guidance. First of all, the official notice board will be downstairs in our office. So whenever we have to put something on the wall which requires paper, we will put it there. But don't worry, everything we will communicate will be sent in an email to you as well. So you will not miss it, but technically I need to have a place where to put something on the wall. So that's down there. And let's go through the rules. And before we do so, we communicated the list of open countries. That is unchanged as of now. There are no changes. I sent you an email some weeks ago where I told you that we are about to try to open the Kaliningrad airspace on the sea, but we didn't have the time and didn't find the relevant contacts over summer. We will try to do that for next year. So Kaliningrad stays as it's listed. And the same is true for St. Petersburg, which is also extending deep into the Baltic Sea, even down to Helsinki almost. We tried to shortcut that, but again, for the same reason, we did not manage for this year, and we'll try again for next year. So nothing to add on this occasion related to these countries. If during tomorrow, when we activate the flight plans, we should receive other information from countries which have limitations or even might close airspace, we will let you know in the last briefing prior to takeoff tomorrow afternoon. So for now, this is your field of play. Questions? Okay. There are some specifications where I would like to point your attention to. First of all, we are flying the greatest distance. This will be the launch coordinate. I took some measurings and they may deviate even if you take them, but for the purpose of the competition, these are the coordinates to which we will score your results. Flight instruments. In your rule book, you see the instruments listed, which are requested to be on board. These will be checked by Benoit and maybe one or two helpers prior to takeoff, so we want to see that transponders are there, that ELTs are there, and the minimum safety equipment is there. So we will do that at the end of your preparation phase, approximately 1 to 2 hours before the last briefing. That is during the afternoon, between 3 and 5 something in the afternoon. So we'll visit you in your baskets, and Benoit will check if everything is on board. And I ask you to have the equipment close. I know that not all baskets might be ready by then, but at least have it at hand and not start searching in your van somewhere and look for your transponder. So have it at hand. For the tracker, please see Benoit after the briefing. We did not really find the best way, but we'll let you know, and Benoit will take care of this. Also on the deposit, we will let you know, and stay in the room after the briefing, and Benoit will address the matter with you. Okay? On airspace, you have seen that we are in a very interesting weather scenario, which might be a challenge in terms of available airspace. So I like to point your attention to the rules which are in place. And I would also like to point at something which we had to address last year in Italy, because you might go back to Italy. At least this is what some of the trajectories are telling me at the moment. So first of all, we introduced some years ago the so-called ATC log. This is an informal process, but informal in terms of the document type. It's in the end a piece of paper on which you write down your frequency you have been talking to, the kind of clearance you received, and when that happened, nothing more. And I will not check that. You return that to me after the flight in a sealed envelope or whatever. I just want to have it to protect you in case somebody might come up with something accusing you as pilots of not having had a clearance when you should have had one. So really take it down, write down your contacts, the kind of clearance, frequency, time, that's it. It's for your protection, and it will not be opened at all by me to assess anything. We will handle that in a different way. This is your document. And as you can see, the rules point at your responsibility for airspace behavior. So as last year, I will tell you I'm not the policeman, and I don't want to be the policeman, but I'm here to make sure that procedures are in place and that we prove to ATC stations all over Europe that we take the race seriously. But primarily, it's your job with ATC stations en route what's happening and what kind of business you are flying to. There are a couple of exceptions to this where we need to be a little bit more careful when we talk about certain airspaces where authorities are on alert, if I may say so. First of all, airspace penalties, this is not new, it's in place here, this rule since many years. And you see that penalties, that infringements may result in a penalty even though individual clearance has been obtained in flight. And I need to explain that to you because the next point is the so-called Italy case. For Italy, we have a NOTAM, and the NOTAM and the airspace regulations, which Nick will point at, are very detailed and are very complicated. And we can't ignore that. We believe that if 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 negotiate individual clearances, you will succeed. As always, when you enter an airspace, usually ATC people are cooperative and support you. But here it is a race of 20 balloons, and it would be most likely that once 1 or 2 or 3 people obtain permissions in certain airspaces, the rest will not get it because it's then just getting too much. And this is the case for Italy. They gave us a very detailed structure, and that's why for Italy I ask you to really follow what's written in the handout with all the complicated structures to provide you with an even playground for everybody, and not give an advantage to those smart speakers and smart pilots who are in the lead negotiating their way through to the disadvantage of 6, 7, 8, 10, 15 following. So, I understand that this is not really the best option for you, but I believe it's the most fair option since it's the same for everybody. We know that last year it was difficult to really follow the different structures. There were 4 balloons flying into Italy, and we had to penalize some of you. And I wanted to explain how we look at this. And my proposal is, or my decision is, to do it the same way as last year. So last year we used a software called Boxy. Boxy is used for hot air balloon competitions. It's a 3-dimensional model which really shows the airspace structure. And I will show you a picture that you understand it in a better way. And then we match the track against the 3-dimensional model to identify how long has a pilot really been engaged in airspace where he or she should not have been flying. But I believe we did it in a very reasonable way. This is the case which I would like to take as an example. Last year, you see the purple line of the balloon flying, and then you see the very complicated structure in northern Italy. And this is just a screenshot. And the software is able, and I thank Mark and Christian and other techies in the room, Florian, who then are able to match a track against this 3-dimensional model. And on that occasion, we found out that the pilot actually was violating 2 zones for a certain time. And believe me, we are not, I'm German, but I'm not bloody German, so I'm not bean counting this. And of course, we know when you're flying at lunchtime, there are thermals which might take you up and down, so we add a certain margin which we believe is reasonable. We also try to understand where you entering an airspace from low, climbing up and continuing into high altitudes, or were you descending and just cutting a corner short. To identify if this was done on purpose, or if it might have been a big thermal, or if you just ignored completely the airspace structure. And I can only ask you to trust the IT experts in the room and the judgment which we want to apply in order to prove Italian airspace authorities that we take this seriously, but also that we are reasonable in the way how we adjust it. We had a long discussion last year at the debriefing, and Sebastian was not particularly happy, and Benjamin, and came forward with a documentation. But I hope in the end, in the discussion, we all went home in the understanding that we all try our best to not over-police the event, but monitor it in a reasonable way and use tools, if necessary, also to protect you for next year's race when we want to again go back to Italy. Are there any questions? So those of you who are now asking me how much penalty will I get, I can't answer that. I really would like to see, I gave you a guidance last year, it was 2% of the distance. We need to see the significance of the violation and how many people did it, and was it kind of shortcutting an edge of a CTR or whatever, or TMA, or was it much more? And we will look at each case individually, but we hope that you follow the principal rules of engagement, which are as shown here and printed out in the document. Yes?
Just to go back to the point of multiple balloons entering a control zone.
Take the microphone.
So I just want to clarify, as a first-time competitor, your statement about multiple balloons entering a control zone or TMA. They get clearance. There are numerous balloons behind, and they don't get clearance. Does that mean that the person who has a clearance is then disqualified?
I appreciate your question. I'm not sure if you all got it. I think we need to differentiate. This is the Italian complexity where we have the NOTAM, which gives us the usable boxes. You were asking for a control zone, for example, and let's move your scenario to another airport, like 15 balloons approach Munich. And that is normal ATC business. There is nothing protecting us to go to Munich. There's no NOTAM prohibiting us to go. There is no altitude restriction, except according to the normal ICAO map. So, as usual, when a pilot negotiates with Munich, in my example, and gets the clearance and is lucky because the ATC guy is comfortable with how you're talking and communicating and working and your position, you may get the clearance, and another colleague 40 minutes later may not get it. This is always the case, and we can't rule out this, because that is luck or bad luck in normal air traffic control procedures. But Italy is different. They wrote us, this is the airspace you must use. It's two different things. Was I clear enough with how I see this point? Okay. Sebastian, would you like to add, based on last year's discussion? Are you yeah, and Benny, you raised the point last year. Are you okay with the explanations? Yeah. Okay. Meteo. You see there's no dedicated meteo guy. However, I believe there is so much meteo expertise in the room. We will do it in our team, and we did it many times before. Luckily, we have a very favorable condition, so I will keep it brief, because your own meteo intelligence is even more advanced than my what I'm now presenting. So during the course of tomorrow, we'll have favorable conditions. I don't see any issue at all for a safe inflation period, and also for a launch according to schedule, which is 1900 local. You can see by yourself, that's just a screenshot. There are more detailed models available, but I don't believe we need this at this very moment. So the decision is taken, launch tomorrow, full stop. We will not wait for the Saturday, hoping that the wind pattern might have changed to give you more favorable easting or northeasting. We will take the first safe, solid scenario for takeoff, which is tomorrow night. Trajectories, first 6 hours, reasonably slow, low altitudes pointing to the west, northwest, southwest, above flight level 100, more heading to the southeast. As you can see, luckily, from today's perspective, we will be able to avoid the challenging airspaces, especially around Zurich, or arrive there when Zurich is closed, which is very good for tomorrow. And just to let you know, we run daily telephone conferences with Zurich and with Paris already since 3 days. So they know all of this. We speak to them personally on our level. I believe we established quite a good confidence level. I had been to Zurich twice. Mark joined me on one occasion, or last year even more. So they trust what we tell them. They trust that we are all together in control of the scenario. That's why they are fairly relaxed, even though we might enter their airspace tomorrow evening. That's the 12-hour scenario. Still very slow in France, heading to the west-southwest. And you might need 12 hours to cross the Alps even under this scenario. And this is 48 hours. So that's why I pointed at Italy. Italy is a complicated situation. We know that, but this is what we see today. Weather, more comments, questions? Okay. So next thing is air traffic control, and Nick will take over. I have to launch, and Pascal, I have to launch the presentation, but while I do so, I will just leave this on the screen. Zurich is aware of this picture. Of course, you know it, but it just produced on purpose to prove Zurich and Geneva how detailed we look into the airspace. We want that they see how much we care about what's going to happen. And I believe this pedagogically created slide was definitely helpful when we started our discussions. So give me a minute to launch the presentation, and then we will continue. Hmm? Would you talk about France first? Yeah, okay. So I'm handing over to Pascal Joubert, who will...
Thank you. Hello all. Okay, so before speaking about Zurich, I will speak about the French airspaces. So as we did so for some years right now, we have a letter agreement, and you all have some copies of this agreement for any navigation in France. There is no news about this letter of agreement regarding the last years. Just, okay, French navigation services wants us to avoid large airports like Paris, Strasbourg, Lyon, Bâle. I will speak about Bâle after that. Your flight maximum altitude, except in Fear Paris, is 195. Flight level 195, and over Paris and Fear Paris, it's only 115. About your departure, okay, I will manage your coordination with the French air navigation service. So maybe I will not work a long time for you. I have spoke with Bâle, and they asked me if it is possible for you to fly above 7,500 feet until 11:30 local time. Okay. Bâle, yes. Bâle. Basel. Wow. Okay. Yes, above 7,500 feet. Okay? Until 11:30 local time. 11:30 p.m. Yeah. Okay. Nice. Okay. Yes, inside the terminal area and above the control terminal region. Yes, but if you can reach under the terminal area, it's okay. You're in a GA space. Okay. So it's maybe some problems for Zurich, because we ask you to be high, and Zurich asks you to be low. But Nick maybe will talk about that. What can I say also? We had a specific discussion this year with the French civil aviation in case of radio failure or transponder failure. So there is a new wording in your Appendix 2. So please read it. And if you have any question, please come back to me. And at least I will manage your flight plan. I'm going to deposit it at Mérignac by phone tomorrow morning. When you land, or when you are going to land, you can close the flight plan with the radio contact ATC. If you didn't done that, please call us as soon as possible in order I found the Bordeaux and close the flight plan. Be aware that if the flight plan is not closed, after 1 hour, they will start the rescue team. So it costs a lot. So don't forget to say me, okay, it's closed or not closed. Okay? That's okay for the French part.
So just to confirm, the Bale airport, we have to stay above 7,500 feet until 11:30 p.m. and it's a rule now. Please avoid. Okay, I understand.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, normally. Hello everybody. Now we're going to the part of all the countries we had to coordinate, perhaps for the last time, outside France. And I started with, you got this paper, country briefing. So I will not tell you what you can read, but more you can ask me questions if you did not understand. And perhaps we will start with the country briefing general about the rules of the air, airspace classes, very important. Transponder must be on during the whole flight and not off when you're very low. As we get phones from ADC, they ask us, where are they? Okay, we see you with the tracker. So normally it's the other way around. We should ask ADC, where are they? This time it's that way around. Then please, special use areas, it's explained in here what it is. You find them in the NOTAMs and in AIP, en route 5 section. Then with the regulations, you know the regulations which are also active and valid. SERA is also one of the regulations, something which is very important. If you approach a CTR, you should be in good VMC conditions. So you don't need a special VFR, otherwise you cannot enter CTR. And don't forget to check the NOTAMs and all the information you get on the internet for the different areas. In this document is written, that's very important, what has been requested by ADC or CAA, what has been discussed with, and has been accepted with. So that's in here. So if you have experience which is not exactly that, and you have obtained other conditions, so that I don't know. So that's what has been written and has been declared valid by ADC and the Civil Aviation Authority. It's important also to know that flying balloons in Europe is getting every year more complicated. In 2018, the increase of air traffic was 4%. And now there are about 30,000 flights, more than 30,000 flights every day crossing over Europe. So we have to understand that ADC is very complicated, and are the more restrictive, I will tell you at the end what is especially complicated this year.
May I ask?
For the general, is there any question? Yes?
Yeah, just a small question. If you scroll a little bit up, could you rephrase the sentence, night VFR is not allowed under special VFR conditions in CTR? So that means in the night, if the CTR is maybe there, but the airport is closed, we are not allowed to cross that CTR.
The CTR is always active, also when the airport is closed. So because there is also the airport is closed, ATC is here. So we have colleagues in Geneva the whole night, which are controlling, because there are drones sometimes, there are helicopters, the rescue helicopters, they have state aircraft, they can fly in during the night. So it is for commercial, which is disclosed, commercial, and also for private aircraft. But that's the rule.
So a clearance would not be allowed, huh?
No, you are not allowed under special VFR conditions in CTRs. Other question for the general? Yeah. No. It was written. Did you? So I didn't write it.
I thought I wrote you get the French one, and this one in paper as well. Did I write that? Well, then I need a printer to produce 2,000 pages. I don't have that here.
You have to buy a printer then. Is it not possible? Otherwise, they can go to the reception. No, forget it. Okay, forget. Sorry. I start with Switzerland. Is there any question about Switzerland? You see the conditions with the times. You will see the map again, probably. And the frequencies which have been given are written on here. Yes, that's it. Any question for this page? Unfortunately, Switzerland is not the only one. I do not understand why AIPs you have to pay for. It's a safety thing. It's normal that normally you should have access free. Otherwise, it's not possible. There are some states they ask $100 just to consult an AIP, which is not normal in my case. But also Switzerland, they want to be paid. Then the map, perhaps. The Zurich map, we know it. We've seen it. No questions. That's illustration more for Zurich ACC. So they can calculate when you approach this TMA. Next page is Geneva, much easier even. No questions. Germany, just perhaps to, it's not the right expression. Germany, thank you. The SUAs, honestly, shall be avoided when active. It's not activation you have asked, the activity you have to be asked. Otherwise, they activate it. So activation is the wrong expression. Sorry for that. Questions, Germany? Next, Italy. One thing we have to tell you here, see NOTAM handout on briefing, same problem with printers. We send it to you. You get the NOTAM this afternoon or this evening. But the NOTAM will be corrected to what has been discussed, because they made a NOTAM. I said it's not possible, because they said the whole Milano area is A, you cannot enter Milano. Padova didn't change, and they said also for Brindisi, you have also the map, you cannot enter Brindisi, and that goes up until 195. So I called them and told them, listen, if the balloons want to cross from Italy to Albania or to Greece, we cannot do it, so they go into the sea. Before Brindisi, you have to take them out. And then they went back to the CAA and discussed with Brindisi. So they allow now to fly over Brindisi above flight level 100, which should, I think, be doable. You're going for a long time over sea. I think you will have to have a security altitude, or stay below 4,000. So that's one of the things we discussed with Italy. The other one is Milano. You will see on the NOTAM, they said, don't enter Milano TMA and at certain times, and do not enter Milano zone of responsibility. That's the whole Milano area until Genoa. And I discussed again with Mr. Silva, chief of Milano. He said, okay, we understand that we cannot block the whole area for you. So they limited again to the 45th north. And I do not explain, you can read yourself on your papers, when you can fly in there, during the night especially here, and when you can't. That is for Milano. But we have the Padua area, and you see it's the same as last year. Unfortunately, there is no discussion. It's really a challenge for your skills and the ballooning skills, and it is that's a challenge. And you are all champions and the best in the world. So show that you are the best in the world, please. So, for example, what Marcus told you before, the area 9, zona 9, you have a lower limit of 4,500 feet. It's written in here, huh? on the bottom it's written. And area 11 is 8,500 feet. So you are supposed to fly until here, 4,500 feet, and climb in the area 8,500 feet to 8,500 feet. And not start climbing here, because you say, okay, here come 8,500. No, here your maximum is 4,500. So please stick to that. Stick to it. And have a look at your map, because I have written up, can you go down a bit? On all pages I have written, no, the other way around. Don't use this sketch for navigation purpose. Please, do not fly with that. You have your maps, and this is information on your maps. These areas are written. You can find them. And if you don't, you have to change the program. I finish Italy or this one, okay?
Yes, zone 11. Is that what's on the map? Zone 11?
Zone 11 is this one.
Is it on the
Yeah. You have on the ICAO map or on. You have to check which map. I will, but I found it. I understood. Thank you. He asked if the zone 11 is on the map. So I found it. So I can't tell you if it is ICAO map or is an en route map. If it is an en route map and not ICAO, I will send you the en route map. Okay? Any other questions for Milano and Padova? Yes? Excuse me?
So sunset to sunrise, this is negotiable with the ATC to have higher limits,
In
right?
the note time you will see it's sunrise and sunset for Padova. And for Milano, Rome and Brindisi, there are figures.
Mhm.
So you know when sunrise and sunset is. You have, I'm sure you have, as professional pilots and the best of the world, you know where to look for, and you stick to that. Okay? Other questions for Padova Milano? Okay, next is this Brindisi business. So I explained already with flight level 100 or above or below 4,000 feet. And the last is Rome. Rome didn't change in reference to the last year. So night and day, all flight levels in the green part, and with the figures in the yellow part. Any question? Yeah.
The last line, 04 to 21 UTC. Okay, stay above flight level 130.
That's
and that is green. We can go green.
Yeah. In that, for this part, between 4 and 21 UTC during the day, 130 is green. And during the
night hours or 2100?
During the night, I will say. Yeah, and during the night, all levels are green.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, it's tricky. Other questions for Italy? Next. Now it's quite rapid, I would say. I have one remark, and I think it was Sebastian, who told me that in Italy it is written that exceptionally night VFR is approved for the Gordon Bennett 2018. That's copy-paste error. It's 2019, of course. Thank you. Yeah, sure. Austria. Nothing special. You have the frequency. You have one problem with one over Vienna, just over Vienna, you can't cross. Then Hungary. Nothing special, just look for the temporary areas on the link I wrote down for you. Slovenia. Nothing special at all. They will welcome you because already today I had, when do they come? When is it? When does the race start? We like it. It's so a small country, but they would like to see you. Czech Republic. Nothing special at all. You have two links. The first one is the listing of the areas, and the second one is a map of the areas. Slovakia. You have to pay for the AIP. There are unmanageable areas which you can consult. I checked it through. That's not a problem. You can look there. What is manageable? You can look that in the morning before you, or the day before.
And so the manageable means?
That you can ask for. Okay. They can stop it within half an hour, the activity. Yeah.
We can ask for a stop there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Croatia. There is a special thing after landing. We have in some countries you have landing permission, but others they wanted that we write to 3 ministries and 2 military entities to get approval. So we said, like very small countries, like, well, Croatia is not small, but there are smaller countries. We said with Marcos, normally you don't land already in Croatia, as you are the best pilots in the world. But but if you have to, do not declare emergency. Just say safety. We are tired. We have no gas anymore, or we are hungry, or something like that. But do not say declare emergency, because then you have everybody, police and the CAA behind you. And here you just call the police. 112, just like in Switzerland, is it? Oh, it's the same. Perhaps you will have a Swiss policeman there. Okay, next. Bosnia-Herzegovina. There are two countries, unfortunately, where the law does not allow night VFR. Only for state aircraft and for emergency or rescue. And I discussed with them, it was the same last year already. If they don't have any law, they don't have to handle it, even when 20 balloons arrive during the night. So that's one of your tactics to go around if you see that it might be during the night, or you have to land before sunset or in another country. Yes? Ah, sorry. Serbia, Montenegro, any question? Albania is the same. For Albania, the max level has been approved not to 195, but 140. But it's not bad. 140 is almost 5,000 feet. 5,000 meters. And if you are asked, that's important, that's possible that you will be asked by the ADC, that if you have an overflight permit, yes, we have one, number 550. Okay? Then Romania, nothing special. There's a very, very tiny zone. Must be the old king of Romania, which is somewhere on a castle. It's impossible to overfly. Moldavia, nothing special. Again, for the safety reason, for if you make a landing, safety reason, not emergency landing. North Macedonia, you have to land on Skopje or St. Paul something. It's complicated. International airport, a lot of traffic in the balloon in the middle of the runway. Huh? Okay, that's also one very complicated. We did not get any permit to stay or to land outside in a field. So again, safety landing. We tried, but they didn't want to give us something. Don't know if this has to do something with the name change they had to accept. North Macedonia. Then Bulgaria. Nothing special. Any question? Greece. Any question? That's again for the SUAs, like Malta as well. There are two, I think, are danger areas which are north of Malta. They are active sometimes, I don't know when. But if they're active, you can ask for if they can stop it or to cross without being shot down. That's in Greece and Malta. So for the whole paper, there are many other countries, Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia, Finland, Sweden, but for the time, the winds do not go up there. If everything changes, tomorrow we'll have a big meeting again here, and we will show you what it looks like up there. Perhaps for those who want to go to France, slow, 2, 3, 4 days, and perhaps we arrive in Spain. That's one of the big deception this year. You remember perhaps last year already the Spanish ADC said, we don't want you to fly in Barcelona TMA. Barcelona TMA goes up to level 245 and is partly AIS base. And this year we asked again in May. We sent everything in May in order to be able to have a good discussion with them. We received the permit, which is a permit. Yes, you can fly, but not Barcelona, not Zaragoza. That means you have to go to Biarritz to go down. It's impossible to cross the zone, the Pyrenees, because on the other side of Pyrenees, they close. But yeah, you come on, but you have no right to fly in there. So yeah, you can't fly over 245. I said it's not possible. Maximum 150 and so on. They said no, that's midst in the traffic, and we do not accept. So we tried still after the day of yesterday, before yesterday. And when we saw that the winds are not really blowing down there, we stopped discussion with them. And we would have liked to go there to explain what ballooning is. And as I did with Solar Impulse in Tokyo, in Washington. But that was months before we came to fly there. But here, 3 days before we have the takeoff here, they say there is no possibility to fly in. So that's just to show you that perhaps next year might be even more complicated. Any question now about this? We are open for the questions. We have another briefing tomorrow. If we see anything changes, we call in for a briefing here. Otherwise, we have a last briefing on the launch field.
Is there a chance to get it printed, or should we take care of ourselves?
I'm not the technician here, so. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, just to make sure that we have not the discussion in the end of the race like last year. We got a lot of informations now, and we know that the NOTAM in Italy will be penalized if we do something wrong. But what's with the TMA of Barcelona, what's with the night VFR in Albania? Can we negotiate their clearance or not? So I want to have a list. What will be penalized if we go into Albania at night and we got a clearance? Will there be a problem, or only the NOTAM in Italy?
You will not get this list because overall the rules in the rule book give us almost a white check. Air law is applicable, and violations are primarily an issue between the pilot and ATC. I explicitly explained the special situation for Italy. I think we are done with that one. And the other airspaces, like no night flight in Albania and no night flight, what was the other one? Bosnia-Herzegovina. That's the statement as written right now. So since you asked me how you're penalizing it, I will not fall in that trap and tell you how you will be. It's a violation of airspace restrictions and air law. And the text which I was showing you earlier on in the briefing was that despite you might get an individual clearance, you might be penalized under the Gordon-Bennett rules. And it's difficult for me now to play on all the scenarios, but the rules allow for a different assessment of the situation. And as of now, and as communicated, no night VFR is allowed for these two countries.
So just another case, when I get a clearance to fly over Rome, that was not in your sheet at the briefing here, and I want to descend so that we have no problems and get no penalized. But the ATC said, no, we changed the airplanes, and it's good if you stay there. We get maybe penalized here, but we are good with the ATC. So I know it's a big problem, But it can be happen that the ATC said, okay, we changed some airplanes around you, and please stay there. But the NOTAM said we are not allowed to be there, so we get penalized. But we are good with our flight and our ATC, so how we can do that?
So that's why Marcus asked you to make a log. You write down the clearance you get, the time, and what the clearance was. So you prove that ATC has asked you. We are following you on the tracking. We can see it also. We could almost real-time call Rome and ask him, why is this and this balloon now below? And he says us, oh, he just descended, I don't know. But perhaps he says, I had to because we have the traffic, it was not possible. Then the position, you have no, then in this case, I would say, that's your decision. I don't say
okay, anything. So I can, so to make sure if I can negotiate a clearance to fly through Padua into airspace what's not valid for you because the NOTAM said it's not valid and not approved. If I have a clearance and I put it in my log, and you will talk to the ATC in Italy and they said no, everything was okay, I'm good there.
No, not like this. Let's not construct. No. I see your point, and I'm a pilot myself, as you know. I see the frustration. It's a very thin line between fishing and sitting in the rain. The NOTAM is very explicit on northern Italy, and we explained to you how we look at it, and we hope to be reasonable. There are other airspaces where, as presented by Nick now, we don't have the clearance, and the log might protect you. We will also see if certain violations appear to have been done on purpose to gain a competitive advantage. That's what happens in every competition, also in hot air. I can't give you now a definite explanation in this complicated scenario. I just cannot. I can and be strict and outrule every violation for you completely, which means all of you will land in Austria, full stop.
So one last question. You will check the yellow brick track, right? That sent you a point every 5 minutes?
Well, it's downloaded. Anyhow, we set the interval, Mark. The initial interval on the tracker is 15 minutes or 10 and 5 minutes, yeah.
Okay, just in 5 minutes, descent with 4 meters per second or having 100 kilometers per hour. There can be 9 kilometers in distance and 1 or 2 kilometers or 3,000 feet in altitude.
Yes.
So you will just take 2 points and make the connection. Then you will say, okay, you entered the airspace or not.
If you're flying so fast, I mean, 100K doesn't hit you as a surprise usually. We have seen Mistrals where we had that, I know. You have been one
so
of
you
them.
will never ask for a GPS track. You will use the yellow brick tracks.
We have the tracker, but you are of course logging your own flight. We will take all evidence in your favor. Believe me. I think that's a clear statement. As I said before, I'm in the miserable position to not only protect you, but also to prove ATC that we tried our best. But I will not be disadvantaged to you. I will be working in your favor.
Okay, just in case somebody will lose a yellow brick tracker signal and you will not getting informations into Padua or somewhere, you need evidence that somebody flew in.
That's what we always did. We downloaded the backup GPSs. However, if it appears that certain tracking devices fail to transmit positions always when a critical airspace is coming, we might get suspicious. But we did it in the past. We downloaded backup tracks and looked at this also if that's necessary. I know it's not making you completely happy, and you have been in my role before, Sebastian. It's not so easy. But please take it for the minutes. What we do is in your favor. I will not be the policeman on behalf of ATC stations. I will protect you and take all evidence which we have to exemplify or to explain certain tracks, unless we find out it's on purpose to gain a competitive advantage, ignorance or incompetence, then we have to react. Gerald. Andy.
Being that I was part of the problem last year, I can tell you guys that these guys called me way in advance to before I was in trouble. They know what you're doing before you even get there. So as far as wondering what if and that, it's not an issue. And I've gone over Rome the last 2 years in a row. I can tell you right now, they're going to park you at 11,000 feet and tell you to hold that within a 10 or 20 feet area. And they're going to hold you until you're clear of Rome's airspace. And they're not going to talk to you about anything else. And these guys were calling ATC and talking to them before we even got there. So that's just the way it is.
Gerald?
I just want to say thank you for all the negotiations on behalf of us, that we have a wide space to play. And thank you for all your preparing work.
Just to let you know, we have a debriefing tomorrow in a week, and I asked Jean-Claude as president of the jury to raise the question with you if we should change the philosophy of the race completely. And completely means we just take care of the launch and let you go. That would be the other way how we could run the Gordon Bennett. And that's a completely different approach, which some of you may like or some of you may not like. But I asked Jean-Claude to raise that question and discuss it with you next week to see where we are headed in the future.
Just on this behalf, I must say that most of the Eastern countries, Eastern Europe, up from Estonia, like to Greece, they are very grateful that we do, because they are not used to these balloonings. For them, as I said, Slovenia is asking, come on. They will be surprised, I think. But the Western, where the most of the air traffic is, they are the more restrictive. So that's unfortunately. So there are just 2-3 countries, indeed of 37 we have contacted, which are really closing down. And all the rest, there are restrictions, okay, but they're grateful we do the coordination. It's good for them, and it's good for, they think, or we think it's good for you too, so you don't have to, all these discussions to have on the frequency. They don't like that. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. So we will leave it as for now. I would suggest, unless there are other questions, and continue with the briefing. I looked it up, by the way. I promised a printout only on a France document and not on the other one. So I read my email. And the reason is I don't have a printer to generate 2,000 handouts. So this was shared with you electronically before, plus, as promised, the French relevant documents, but not the last document which Nick was referring to. If we had a printer, I would definitely do it, but we don't. Let's talk about safety just briefly. You have been on the field. Inflation fields are nicely marked, 30 by 30 meters, really nice, big, very nice, convenient. You have your big bags. I believe that's working very well. Benoit, jump in if you're missing something. There was a discussion about the access for the field. And just to explain you why that became an issue. It was not the money thing. That's something which was not my thing and above my pay grade, but it was about the number of people on the field during the hot inflation. And with hot, I don't mean fire. I mean the core phase of inflation, where we did not want to have almost 400 people on the field. So I decided we have 6 per balloon, and we have a couple of spares for the one netted balloon, even though technically we all know you can inflate a netted balloon with 6 people also, but we were a little generous. This applies for the phase where we have hoses connected to the balloons and where we're actively inflating a balloon. We want to limit the number of the people on the field dealing with your balloon. That doesn't mean that once the balloons are up, as we always did in Gladbeck and Bern and whatever, that those of your crew who have a pass can go to your balloon and be close. But for the real active phase, 6 people per balloon to just manage the crowd in case there is an issue and not have hundreds of people on the field, but a core team per balloon for this short moment, which should be less than an hour normally, where the hydrogen is being filled into your balloon. That's how we want to take it. Well, then after you have passes, and we will monitor the situation. As Benoit rightfully said, this is not a garden party, although we know how to deal with it. We had a situation, Mark, it was your balloon in Geneva where a hose went off, or it was close to you, I think it was close to your ear even. We have to also show the owner of the airfield and the authorities that we have a working crowd management, and we want to be reasonable. So we will not open the gate and suddenly have 400 people on the field. We will monitor. I understand that you want to have your families and friends around, and we will see how we handle it. But from my point of view, if we have still conditions, balloons are standing, I don't see any reason today why we shouldn't allow core people from our teams who have a pass to have access closer to the balloon. I don't know. I don't have a pass yet, so. Yes.
Bonjour. Sorry, I don't speak English. Donc Benoît Translate. Bonjour. Donc demain, donc comme vous a prévenu donc Marcus, donc on aura donc une invitation de personnel présent auprès du ballon pendant les gonflements. Et après donc on pourra regarder. On pourra regarder ensuite pour donc voir si plus de monde pourront approcher du ballon ou pas.
Oh, sorry. As we said, and to be serious, because it's a serious matter, as Marcus said, it's 6 people will be allowed during inflation. Benoit will be there, and they will be aware. It will make sure that there's no more people. When the balloon will be aloft, will be inflated, there will not be any more problem. We will let the people, your family, your close friends, we will let them in. I will say, since the organizer is not here, passes or without passes. Let's be reasonable about it. Marcus was not right when he was saying there was 400 demands for badges, for passes. Today, Nicolas said there was over 1,000 demands for people to be on the field. This is a race. We are dealing with hydrogen, so let's be serious about it. We know we are used to deal with it, but maybe kids or females are not that used. So we must be safety conscious at all time.
Donc demain matin, l'aéroport sera fermé à 8 h. Et donc, on vous demandera à ce moment-là de faire rentrer vos véhicules. Donc demain matin à 8 h, l'aéroport fermera et vous pourrez rentrer vos véhicules pour vous positionner sur les 21 cases qui ont été dessinées au sol. Donc c'est en 3 lignes de 7 et il y a possibilité de circuler donc, entre les lignes pour pouvoir donc, déposer votre matériel et pouvoir ressortir.
Okay, he says the airport will be closed at 8 o'clock. In fact, the airport will be open for us at 8 o'clock because there will be no more traffic. So you'll be allowed to get in the field with on your spot, on your plot. But by 9 o'clock, we would like you to get all your vehicles and trailers away. Only your balloons and all you need, your equipment, will be left on your spot. You can get on the field from 8 o'clock, and at 9 o'clock, your car and your trailer must be out. Why the trailer? Why the trailer? Was it the trailer last year? Yes or no? Okay, we'll tell you. We leave the trailer? Okay, the boss says okay. So you can leave the trailer.
Côté gonflement, donc je vous laisse donc librement donc choisir la méthode donc de gonflement. Vous êtes suffisamment grand et expert en la matière pour pouvoir le faire. Par contre, une fois que votre ballon sera donc gonflé, on vous demandera d'avoir au moins une personne connaissant donc le fonctionnement du ballon présent au pied du ballon.
We all know you, I think Nick was saying you were the best pilot in the world, so we're not going to tell you how to inflate your balloon. We won't say where the balloon should be inflated that way or something like this. I will maybe teach Willie how to fill a balloon because he's a young man. No, we're not here to tell you how to do it. We know you know how to do it. So you fill your balloon whatever safe way you think you're doing. But Benoit says, and we say it every year, don't leave your balloon unattended during the day. Leave always somebody near your balloon, somebody that would know if there's a wind or needs to get the balloon down, how to do it.
At what time the two naked balloon can we start to inflate in the process?
When we decide, you are not, who do you think you are? I think
usually you a little bit more time.
Nah, we'll do it as usual. You get ready, and as soon as you're ready, you will start because we know how slow you are.
Voilà, et puis donc ensuite, je passerai donc pour contrôler donc vos appareils juste donc après le briefing du soir. Donc je contrôlerai donc vos équipements. Voilà. Des questions?
Of course. So he says he will come and check your equipment, as Marcus said, just after or just before your launch time. Your launch time, sorry. That would be after the last briefing in the evening. Have you got any question about safety? What time does inflation start? Inflation will start whenever we will tell you. Now, I think we're talking about maybe another briefing tomorrow at 9 o'clock. So as soon as the briefing will be over, we will start inflation with the first balloon from the launch sequence withdrawn tonight. Sébastien. Yeah, your sandbag will be on your plot about 8 o'clock. When you get there, it will be done. We've got somebody at 7 o'clock. Il y a quelqu'un à 7 heures qui met les camines, les balles. Non, le sable. Le sable, oui, à 7 heures. Yeah, okay. The sand will be on your plot tomorrow morning at around 7 o'clock. Sorry, you haven't done your sand yet? Life is easy for you. Yeah, there shouldn't be any problem. There's plenty of sand left to do it or whatever. Maybe you won't need much sand actually. You don't need to fly.
Benoit.
He will talk about it. I shouldn't have said anything about it.
I'm sorry, just one question. In case that we start as one of the first crews, can we get to the field a bit earlier? Because our balloon takes just a bit longer to prepare than...
Matthias, we'll see about you, especially because you are the champion. And we'll see that you don't get inflated at lunchtime, if I remember well from last year. Yeah. Okay, we'll see. We'll see later tonight when the launch sequence will be drawn, and we'll take decision at the time.
Yeah, if we're done with safety.
Are we done with the safety?
Okay. I'm speeding. Thank you. I'm speeding up a little. We are a little over time. Crisis management, this is the modern expression. We have to deal with this in case, but I don't hope, in fact, it will be necessary. We have a team taking care of all issues consisting of myself and the people listed there. You can take pictures of that, but you will also have it in your email later today. For ATC, we have a telephone number which is dedicated. Please don't spam this number by calling as long as the world is nice and peaceful. But whenever you have an issue, use that. In any case, use it to provide us with your landing number. And in case you don't manage to reach somebody on the ATC number, call me or Benoit Peterle. Okay. Good. Now, final point, and I welcome Mark and his team, and I don't think I have to introduce him since he's so well known to all of you. Again, we put a big focus on the social media, on a feature which we call Gordon Bennett TV, and Mark is very, very instrumental and very busy doing that. So I give you the floor to explain a little bit more of what you have in the pipeline and prepared for the race. Mark.
Thank you very much. So that's René, one of our engineers. No, yeah, I have a group of people here, and the main thing that we try to do is further elaborate from what we did last year with the TV channel. So we have a number of shows. We broadcast this general briefing here. We will broadcast the opening ceremony. And then starting tomorrow, we'll do a number of live shows, and we will approach either myself or Christian will approach you as a pilot and ask you, can we maybe have an interview, get some time from you. We also want to try to do calls at the end of your flight again, like try to call you on the mobile phone. So please be, like we discussed with you, give us your phone number that we can try to reach you and get some first-hand information for the public, because this is really what the public is looking for. It's not just following a track, but really getting a little bit on how was it going and so on. Aside from that, as the last 2 years, we have this live tracking system. By the way, so far we never dropped a single track point, just for those who consider or like imagine like what happens if somebody enters a limited zone without tracking. So far we had 0 track points lost in the last 2 years. So there's we have the Twitter connected to the live tracking. So if you give to me or Christian your Twitter account that you're using in case you're tweeting, give us that account number, sorry, just the account name. We can lock it to the track, and then it's actually showing you when in your track you dropped or you tweeted some information. That's very interesting for the public. As Marco said, please don't do any like streaming of any, in case of any incident, in case of any stuff, don't communicate that on the public account. Be fair and polite in what you do there. Yeah, that's, I think mostly there's the website as we had it last year already with the live Gordon Bennett Aero, which is the one to be published to everybody, and which is yeah, which can be used for this. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. And Regan, once more, could you please show your face? Where are you, Regan?
Regan is already prepared.
Oh, he's already working. Please be cooperative with Regan. He will approach you. Most of you know him. He's our anchor man and very well received outside. So we'll do our best to make the race entertaining. Now, the last slide is actually what we want to do tomorrow. There will not be any more briefing in this room. Everything will happen on the field. We have a dedicated tent on the launch field. You will find it easily. We'll meet for the briefing at 9 o'clock, just to reconfirm where we are, what's happening, that we are all aligned on what might be an issue. I also invite those of you who have still questions on ATC matters or anything other, drop me an email so that we can prepare and answer tomorrow morning if that should still be necessary. And then finally, we want to do a launch briefing at 5:30 in the afternoon in order to update you on latest ATC information, tell you more about the flight plan, and get you ready for the planned launch 1900 and plus some minutes. Questions? Axel. Yes. Okay, the question was, okay, let's just put that on the parking lot before I answer that. Related to the race and to this briefing, any more from your side? Okay, thank you. So, housekeeping issues, when is the bus leaving and from where?
The good news is the bus has been cancelled. I just learned during the thing. There'll be a bus next week because they are more concerned about your drinking next week than tonight. Tonight we know you're going to be reasonable. So I gave you the address of the Peugeot Museum. It's about 20 minutes drive from here, maybe even less. So unfortunately you have to take your car and not to drink too much because you'll be driving back. And you're having a race tomorrow. I'm very sorry about it. I'm making fun about it, but I just had the information about 20 minutes ago. I know it's Peugeot, sorry.
So since Benoit is preferring to, we are almost done. So that was understood, not a joke. You like to make joke. Okay, so you have to drive by yourself. I didn't know that either. The opening ceremony is in the Peugeot Museum, which is easy to find downtown. There's tons of parking places around. There's no matter to park your cars, and we will start at 1900 there. Anything more for this briefing? Then I thank you for your attention. We were taking a little bit more, taking more time than usual. Thank you for your attention. See you tomorrow and see you later. And loggers, please, on loggers, check with Benoit now. Thank you. Briefing is closed.